Well, I think one thing that is obviously very important with regard to connecting with the players, like you talked about, this has been well reported, is the fact that Ime Udoka comes in having reportedly gotten the seal of approval, and not just the seal of approval, but a very high recommendation from Celtics players, stars, budding superstars, Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, plus Marcus Smart and even Kemba Walker before them as well, because all of those guys were with Udoka at Team USA in the FIBA World Championship tournament a couple of summers ago. And Brad Stevens, in talking about he didn't talk about this yet as we sit here now, but in talking about the Kemba Walker Al Horford trade, said that he has throughout this offseason, not different than being a head coach, but I think different than being a head coach. He has been in regular touch with with his core players about the future of this organization. I'm sure they were consulted to some degree about the Horford Walker swap, and obviously definitely consulted with regard to who's the next head coach of this team going to be. I mean, did it need to get their approval in today's NBA? I think it did, quite frankly. Now, should they have had the final say? No, that's obviously different. You want to go with someone that you are most comfortable with as an organization. Obviously, as you said, Udoka checks a slew of boxes as to why he's a great candidate. And there's, whether he was your top choice, whether that was Chauncey Billups, whether it was Kara Lawson or Becky Hammond or Darvin Ham, or, you name it, no question, Ime Udoka comes in very, very qualified for this job. And I really do think, at least on paper, he's going to do a great job. Reputationally, seems like he's going to do a great job. But, a lot of people felt at the time of his hire, it was, oh my God, what took so long? Like this, he's interviewed for head coaching jobs in the past. As I said, has been an assistant the last 9 years. We're going to learn a lot more about him later on in this show with Jeff Garcia, who has covered the Spurs the last two and a half decades at this point for the Locked On Spurs and other outlets, in addition to that podcast. But it does seem like, I mean, this is a real, players guy, but also, there can be a negative connotation to that, being a players guy. It's like, oh, so does he go easy? No, a players guy in that he can be friendly with you, but he can also be a disciplinarian. Rudy Gay, talking to our pal Jeff Goodman, said that he's not a guy who shies away from shooting you straight. He can be your friend, he can joke around, he can be loose, but he'll come at you if he needs to as well. And I think that's it's certainly a great trait of an assistant coach, but it's absolutely an even better trait as a head coach. And so he's going to come in clearly with the built-in already respect of a lot of the guys that are on this team, that are on this roster, that are around this league. And I think that's, that absolutely is a difference maker, because taking nothing away from what, who Brad Stevens was, what he achieved, what he was at Butler, all of that, he was an unknown commodity coming to the NBA. You knew what he was in the college game. You knew, his teams overachieved, and they overachieved a lot in Boston, until these last couple of years as well. But I think for younger players who, quite frankly, were too young to give a damn what, the Brad Stevens Butler teams were doing way back when, like Jayson Tatum wasn't actively watching those games, or Jaylen Brown and guys like that. For this individual and Ime Udoka to come in with the reputation that he has, and having already worked with him on the world stage, I think that makes a big difference.
I agree with that. I agree with a lot of that. I think Boston has, been able to sift through the things that they're looking for. Again, a guy that's a great communicator is going to be one of those things. And Brad, I think, is a pretty effective communicator for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that needs to be able to make adjustments. You're seeing what adjustments can do for a team like the LA Clippers, who are without their best player in Kawhi Leonard, and them trying to figure out what kind of lineup combination works. And I know they lost game 2 against Phoenix, but almost pulled that one out. They pulled out the series against the Utah Jazz. A guy that can make adjustments is a big thing. I'm thrilled for the fact that Ime has gone through all these different ranks and done all these things and worked his way up. Is finally getting a shot here. This is all good stuff. I'm really pumped about it. And the fact that he's going to be reconnected with, and just to tie this in, because this is what we do. He's already worked with Al Horford, who's the newly minted, not centerpiece, but a newly minted Celtic who's already been a Celtic, sort of, kind of, I think it's a good thing as well to have already a rapport with Al Horford. Again, having rapport with guys. And that was a big thing about, Kemba Walker. He that offseason, he was working with Jayson Tatum, I think, during a Jordan Brand photo shoot. So having connections with players already in the team that have been here is a big thing. Then Al coming in, I know he spoke earlier today about it and how he's, excited to get back to work with him. And this is great. Again, all these things are really good. Yes. Is he unproven? Absolutely. But, so was Brad. So.
Hi guys, Cedric Maxwell here. I want to take a minute to tell you about Marigold Medical. I'm used to keeping my body in great shape, but with arthritis, even the most simple everyday tasks became unbearable. As soon as I called Marigold Medical, I knew I was in good hands. No drugs, no surgery, just an experienced team of caring professionals that wanted to get me back to doing the things I love. Make the call to Marigold Medical and get back to pain-free life.